World over, the sudden changes experienced in the weather has been a theme of concern, and Nigeria is not left out, with a recent warning over impending increase in temperature in parts of the country. Among many bioindicators like variable rainfall that causes rise in sea level and flooding, drought and desertification, land degradation, and loss of biodiversity. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has warned that weather temperatures across some cities in Nigeria are expected to rise above 40 degrees in the next 48 hours. Cities that might experience these high temperatures are Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, Taraba, and Adamawa, while most parts of the northern cities are expected to record temperatures between 35 and 40 degrees. The statement further warns that cities like Bauchi, Gombe, Borno, and Yola are at risk of experiencing higher thermal discomfort. The agency therefore advised that people in these locations should drink lots of fluid through this period to avoid dehydration. The program Nigeria Today has two professionals in the field to discuss the imminent rise in temperature in parts of Nigeria. I am your carrier, Clinton. Welcome to the program. With me in the studio is Ibrahim Wasiu, Assistant General Manager, Central Forecast Office, Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, Headquarters, Abuja. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to have me here.
Also on set with me is Ishaya Sunday, an Associate Professor, Geography Department, University of Abuja. Good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'll start with you, Ibrahim. We earlier had a prediction from NIMET about the early rains, and now we're having a possible increase in temperature in some parts of the country. Can you tell us more about these predictions?
Yeah, thank you. Let me start by saying that NIMET is saddled with the responsibility to provide climate and weather information for socio-economic development, safety of life and property. And it's on that premise that we issue out the heat index, and this is warning for public to be aware of, what is ahead of them and what they should do. And that is what, led to that.
So what are we looking at exactly with this prediction? What are we looking at?
Yeah, it's called heat index. It's called thermal discomfort. When you have high temperatures and high relative humidity, this account for, what we're having now and what we expected to happen in the next 48 hours. Okay, that's what the warning is all about.
Okay. But Ishaya, you heard about the prediction. So what are the possible implications of this prediction?
Yeah, the possible implication is that human comfort will be affected. Human productivity will be affected, human health will be affected also. It will also affect economic activities within space, within the 24 hours of which it occurs. And also there will be aftermath of this implication. And in some instances, it's also a prediction that can also change the trading pattern. If the weather is cool, you sell tea and coffee. Okay. If the weather is hot, you sell ice cream.
Okay. Yes. So, of course, there are also advantages. We'll get to that. Okay, Ibrahim, the agency also wants people, like we mentioned during the introduction, that they should take a lot of fluid. Are there other recommendations? Are there other recommendations apart from this?
Yeah, there are other recommendations. Fluid, especially water, so that you not get dehydrated. Alcohol and Nescafe is not good at this time. Light clothes will be better, so that that will give you enough ventilation. You need to stay indoor if possible between 11 and 4 when the temperature is high. It's also good that now you look for a cool environment, particularly where you have AC or fan, or where you have tree that you can probably relax, so that the heat you will not really feel it much. These are some of the possible ways of eliminating the effect of heat index or thermal discomfort.
It's really funny when it's hot. People try to get a cool area to get themselves to cool themselves. But when it's also cold, people are looking elsewhere to get themselves warm.
Well, just opposite of when you have,
the other weather. Now, Ishaya, what are some of the bio indicators that give rise to these, temperature change, the weather changing and the...
Yes, this is not too far-fetched from climate change. And if you are discussing climate change, the first thing that comes into your mind is temperature rise.
Okay.
That is the first indicator. It gave rise to global warming. Global warming gave birth to climate change. Now, you will realize some of the things you will see is the atmosphere becomes dry. There will be less moisture in the atmosphere. Why is it that most of the cities that were mentioned are in the northern part of Nigeria, and why not in the southern part? It is because of the location of those spots, those cities in the country. As you come towards the southern part, it is no longer there. The critical truth is that the tropical maritime wind, the maritime wind from the southern part of Nigeria coming from the ocean has passed states like Lagos State, River State, Cross River, Enugu, Ebonyi, Abia, Lokoja, past Abuja. Even the air in Abuja is now moisturized. There is moisture in it. So that impact will be less in it. So this moisture has the tendency of absorbing, scattering, and reflecting incoming solar radiation. But in the northern part of the country, where the environment is highly dominated by the dry wind from the desert, so it has less tendency to absorb, to reflect, or to scatter incoming solar radiation. So that makes that environment temperature to be high. Apart from other activities, human anthropogenic activities within the space, you have if you look at even the issue within the city is higher. As you go away from the city, it becomes less. We call it the urban heat island. In the urban area, the temperature is higher. As you go away from the city, it becomes less. Why? Because we have more absorbent plants that can also absorb, reflect, and scatter this incoming solar radiation in the northern part of Nigeria where there are trees. And apart from that, we also have high number of vehicular movement within the cities. We also have our structure being our environment within the cities in the northern part being fixed in a place in an environment where there are no space where water can easily penetrate. So when you have rainfall, it's just move away. So for the past 6 months, there has been no rainfall. So that simply means the environment has been paved. You have tarred areas, you have paved compound. They consider your wealth in Nigeria based on the way and manner you paved your compound. But when you have trees instead of paved environment, you have trees to park your cars under instead of having car porch. That will reduce the implication within this. So the major cause is just our activities. One, apart from the temperature rise, apart from desertification, apart from the urban activities, maybe number of vehicles, our production styles, our consumption styles, our living styles, those are the activities that stimulate all this.
Now, when you say number of vehicles, what exactly are you talking about?
You see, the temperature in Kano 20 years ago, in a particular spot, for example, you have some people who want to drive cars with 2 exhausts. If the exhaust of the car is one, they won't drive it. So I want cars with 2 exhausts. I want 3-4 cars in my compound.
So it adds to the problem.
As you wake up in the morning, you kick the car, you warm the car, you are generating it. You on your generator, you are generating it.
Okay.
There is, so all those processes, you on your heater, your AC is working, you are generating it. Temperature. So those temperature makes the urban area to have this high quantum of temperature compared to the rural communities. And the rural areas, we have more trees which absorb, but in the urban centers, we don't have. The only trees you see surviving, even in the part of the north, if you go around the rural area, I was in Kebbi, I was in Sokoto, I was in Katsina for a research. Most of the trees are gone. If you see any tree standing, it must be an economic tree, either baobab, shea butter, or locust beech, or mango tree. Sometimes you see what they call a neem tree. Those are trees you see standing. So those issues also exacerbate this incidence of this temperature rise. But again, it's also there's a rapid movement because the wind in the northern part of Nigeria is empty. There is no moisture in it, so it moves so fast. So, and in relation with the temperature rise within these cities, you begin to experience this thermal discomfort. This thermal temperature rise, which will give rise to thermal discomfort. It affects human productivity in the long run.
Okay, Ibrahim, you mentioned some, like the agency mentioned some of the states. The other states that were not mentioned, so at this point, they don't have anything to worry about, or?
It's not that they don't have anything to worry about. It's just that when we give a signal to a particular, state now, it's just for that state to know that it has reached, a very dangerous level. Other one doesn't mean that they're not going to have it, but the level at which they're experiencing may not be as high as those ones that we have just mentioned. Because when you see temperature, like he said, when you see temperatures rising and you also see, RH, relative humidity also, increasing, it's going to account for this, thermal discomfort. Other areas too should watch out. It doesn't mean that they are not going to, they can, be free of it.
Oh, okay. Now,
Can I add something?
Okay,
now,
you wanted to add something.
Yeah, if you look at, some of you may have 3 areas within a city having the same level of developmental activities. But one point may have less temperature, the other will have high temperature. Elevation, altitude, elevation above sea level also affect that. For example, you go to Impape, the temperature in Impape may be less than what you see, maybe within the city of Abuja, because elementary geography will tell you the higher you go, the cooler it becomes within the troposphere.
Okay.
So you may have cities on the same latitude in the north, but their elevation also may be a factor, and the direction of movement of wind is another factor. Apart from other indices or other characteristics, human characteristics or activities that I've mentioned earlier, elevation is also key. And also proximity to water body. Water also can also influence that.
Okay, yes. Apart from the taking in water that you mentioned, what of beating? Is it also part of it?
Yeah, it can also assist if you can, beat like 2 times in a day.
If you have water?
Yeah, if you have water, probably stay indoor, like between that 11 and 4. You don't expose yourself to too much of, stay indoor.
I'm not so comfortable about the staying indoor. What of those are working?
Yeah, those ones that are working are also in their offices, working within this period when you expect the temperature to be so high. If you are indoor, maybe in your office, or probably have like fan cooling system and all that. But it would be better if within this period you are just, either in your office or you stay indoor.
You talk about people that have offices. What of those that are working in the market, people that the barrow pushers and the rest of, we have a lot of.
Yeah, I think within this period it's better to stay away from strenuous work, because definitely that we also had to, you sweat a lot. If you sweat a lot, there's nothing you can do. You can't evaporate because you already have humid, saturated, environment, very humid. Of course, you have to face it. So the best thing is within this period, just stay away from, strenuous work. Probably stay indoor. If you need to use umbrella, you can also use umbrella, just to make sure that within this period between like 11 and 4, you are protected.
Especially that,
so that you don't feel it more. You feel it less with that.
And you said within the last 48 hours. So after the 48 hours, do we have some kind of relief?
Yeah, we keep monitoring as I work. Okay. We keep monitoring if there's need to also update you, to need to give more alert, or probably to let you know what is going to happen next week. Continue doing that. Okay. Don't forget that we issue forecast every day. We only alert when there's need to let the public know.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm still hanging on, Ibrahim. You talked about forecasts, the warnings. Apart from the warnings, are there things you also do to ensure that this information it's utilized?
Yeah, there are a lot of other things we do. Don't forget, that's our responsibility, that's our work. Every day we issue out forecasts. Every day we make sure that the public are aware of what is likely to happen in the next few days. Part of it is this weather bulletin we give, TV weather presentation, even the seasonal climate prediction that we did is to give you an annual outlook of what is likely to happen, throughout this year, and many other that we do. It's just for you to get abreast with what we do. Go to our website, get in touch with NIMET, plan your day, plan your week, based on what the weather is saying. It's good.
Thank you very much. Let's take a short break as we listen to some Nigerians on cross-session interviews as put together by a correspondent, Thomas Ogbetere. Do stay.
The weather was extremely fantastic before my traveling as of last week, but on my return this morning, I discovered a change very close to the hot environment here in Nasarawa.
I said the heat is unbearable, but we'll just try and solicit with the Nigerian government, at least if we can have 24 hours light to, minimize the whole situation and endure with the condition of the weather and all of it.
The weather recently is relatively cool compared to the early rain we have, so I think it's okay.
As you just said, the weather is so hot, and the major problem we're having is lights at night time. Understand? The power suppliers they refuse, not they refuse, but they don't bring light at the major time we needed it, because even when there's no sun, you still feel the heat. Understand? There's a climate change, so I don't know if this what is it called, the whole the whole climate change is changing. We should stop cutting down our trees and everything. We should leave them so we can have fresh air and other things.
Welcome back, and this is still Nigeria. Today we are discussing the rise in temperature in some parts of the country. My guests are still with me, Ishaya Sunday, an associate professor, Geography Department, University of Abuja, and Ibrahim Wasi, Assistant General Manager, Central Forecast Office, Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, headquarters, Abuja. Now, you had some respondents there, and what they were saying. I'm surprised somebody was saying the weather is cool. Exactly what part of Abuja? Anyway, some areas probably it's cool. It's cool. But apart from you mentioned the effects, some of the effects on human. What about the crops?
Yeah.
Would they have effects on our crops?
Yeah, it's like when you look at vegetables on the farm. At this time, they will wither away. Some of them will die off because of the nature of the soil. The soil will get dry off. So you just, except if you consistently water the soil, because in those areas that we have mentioned, they are basically in the northern part of the country where irrigation activities presently is going on. So it means that the farmer will tend to water the crop consistently, maybe instead of once or twice in a day. It will take longer time. If it is 1 hour in the morning, it will take longer time to do it and longer time again to do it in the evening, so that to get the soil moisturized, because at that moment you have high rate of evapotranspiration, meaning water will be leaving the soil into the atmosphere. So to make the soil to be comfortable, the plant to be comfortable, it means you need to get the soil moisturized, watering the soil consistently. But like the prediction is just for the impact will be for 24 hours. So it's something that the local farmers or the people into irrigation can easily manipulate and still get their plant okay.
Now, how best can people, apart from what you said, definitely we are talking about the health. I want to mention, how can people really manage themselves in some of these areas, to avoid being, brought down by some kind of disease within, I know you said 48 hours, but this is possible. It can also extend.
So at the time of issue of that warning, it was set for 48 hours.
Yes.
It can still prolong beyond that. Like I told you, we'll continue to monitor it and, get the public aware of what is likely to happen ahead. That's just the first, the initial warning. And for what the public can do, we've just said it here, they need to be, in a ventilated area, where, light clothes that will not be too thick so that, you won't feel the heat much. Probably, get fan or AC, also, stay in a ventilated area, like I said, and probably take, if you're at home, take, bath more than 2 times in a day, just to make sure that the temperature, and if you can stay indoor, don't expose yourself to too much of, sun ray and all that. I think that for now can take care of the situation.
Isha, earlier on you mentioned some indicators that give rise to this kind of situation, this rise in temperature and the rest of them. Now, what can be done to mitigate some of these effects of the climate change? What can be done in the interim?
Well, looking at this, to resolve this issue is not a short-time plan. This morning we had about, I think, 6 hours of discussion about issue of climate change, climate justice, climate finance, green energy and all those things as issues that are in the forefront of discussion. But the highest polluter of the environment in Africa is the least of all continents. The highest of the country, based on recent finding of which we discussed today, is South Africa. Then somebody from Uganda was saying that they have 0.00004 contribution, 0.01 contribution to to global warming. Yet all of us feel the impact. So for urban area, for issues, crises like this, like Wasiu was saying, there should be a law in Nigeria that when you build a house, given certain size of area, maybe 1,000 square meter, you should have at least 3 trees in your compound. 500 square meter, you should have at least 2 trees in your compound. That will help reduce the level of which people tend to pave their compound these days. And the plants will tend to reduce the temperature, microclimate within your environment. There are benefits when you plant those trees. You plant economic trees. Recently, in my compound, I removed all the plants, all the non-edible plants, plant coconut, plant bananas, plant pear, avocado, then plant edibles, only edibles in the compound. And when you come birds visit, they come into the compound to visit because the environment is cool. We sit under the trees and everything is fine. If 10 people in an environment with 20 houses plant 2 trees, you will see birds flying. It means that ecosystem is inviting, is reliable, is conducive. But when you go to the north, despite the fact that they have less trees in those areas, you will see somebody building a house of maybe 3,000 square meters. But in that compound, there will be no tree. You can plant mangoes, you can plant cashew, you can plant guava in the compound. All those things will help reduce the temperature within the environment. And when you plant, one thing we plant, when you plant them, when they grow, when you pave the environment, they revolt against the paved surfaces. They break them off, they open them up. It tells you that what you are doing is what the environment is reacting. One thing is this: what is hostile to nature, to the environment, is hostile to man. And when nature begins to react to some of the anomalies of man, it's telling you that what you are doing is wrong. So what we need to do is to plant more trees. They will serve as windbreakers. They will also gradually there will be evaporation from those plant and surface water, transpiration from the plant into the atmosphere. They will form moisture in the atmosphere. In the long run, they will bring about clouds if you have them so much in the areas. It will create the length of dry season will be reduced, while the length of rainy season will increase the more you plant trees in an environment. Until when we do that, we will experience this thing more. But there should be a law. I think President Buhari was talking about he was conscientizing Nigerians to plant more trees. When you live in a house, plant trees, at least 1 or 2 in the environment. If you don't want to plant flowers, plant what you can eat. If you plant what you can eat, you will protect it. The coconut in my compound give me at least, let's say, 60 pods. We have been eating for the past 2 months. No man will come and cut it down. I will fight that person. You understand? But if I plant a flower, we can easily cut it down. So we should encourage planting edible plants. It will reduce poverty. It will reduce poverty, because what you will use to go and buy food outside, you just get it from your compound and eat.
You can even sell some.
You can sell some.
Yes.
So those are the kind of things of which we should be looking at. It should be a law. If you don't have, there should be a law that they will come to your house, they will fine you for not having 2 plants, edible plants in your compound. So that is what we can do. That is what is happening in Rwanda. Also, Rwanda are doing that.
Thank you very much. I wish we have enough time so that you talk more on this. It's really getting really interesting. Before we go, we want to thank our guests. Ibrahim Wasio, Assistant General Manager, Central Forecast Office, Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, Headquarters, Abuja. Thank you for your contributions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And also Ishaya Sunday, Associate Professor, Geography Department, University of Abuja. Thank you very much for your insightful contributions.
Yeah, thank you.
And to you, our viewer, thank you for always being there. And don't forget Nigeria Today air weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.